What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Starlight Digest, a podcast bringing you line talk and digesting Star Wars topics over 1,000 years. This is episode 148, being recorded on February 23rd, 2020. I am your host, Darth Moocher, and I've got Grand Admiral Franz here.
Hey, everybody.
And Bootleg Joe.
Yo.
And that's it. This is
Where the hell is everybody?
They're taking the day off.
Marco went and pissed them all off. They didn't want to come on.
This is it now. There'll be a Starlight 2.0 coming down another channel, guys. But this is the real Starlight. No, just kidding. We would never. We would never. But yeah, so it's just us three holding down the fort today. Us three and the pit, of course, because they always follow us, which is great. We are 91 days away from Kenobi, May 25th. I love it. We're in line with that. That's awesome.
Wish they'd announced how many days till Bad Batch 2, right? Like that was a rumor we were going to get it this week, and nothing dropped.
Right. We didn't think we were going to be in another line. It's just the same line, right? The whole year, just in the same line and back to back. But
there wasn't supposed to be a gap.
No,
there's too many things. This is too big.
So we're going to cover a lot of rumors tonight, and some news and speculations. But one of the ones was Bad Batch. Speaking of, was they said anywhere between July and September. Okay. So maybe right after Kenobi, and Andor that time too. So maybe we're going to get doubled up shows.
They're going to have
this
to now.
Year or something
that list we got before had there was like 48 different things going on, and we've already skipped enough weeks to where it's going to overlap somewhere.
Yes, Cliff says with Scott out, does that mean Chris does the outro instead of keeping it nerdy? We get help yourselves. Absolutely. I mean, you have. Stick around to the end to see the catchphrase at the end.
I gotta write that down and remember now. Not that I forget. Go F yourself, but
yeah, right. It's always implied, right? Maybe not said, always implied. Right? That's a good shirt too. Before we get started, everybody, Chris has our Patreon list, right? So
I have a job to do. Look out.
You do.
All right. So our Patreon list. So thank you, patrons, for helping us out here. As you see, we're paying only 3 of us now. We had to cut down. So the more you bring in, we can get the crew back, get their salaries back on track. All right. Scott and Ernie are not cheap. No matter what the rumor says.
Right.
All right. So our patron list, Cliff, thank you very much. Go F yourself. All right. I'm sorry.
There you go.
All right. Donald Solsky, Don and Brady of the Escape Pod podcast on the Red 5 Network. Flavy Davy, formerly of the NWA podcast, Don the Dad Torn, Justin Vanilla Thunder, Mervine, Gavin Connor of the Holy Hour podcast, Crystal Lamphere, Brandon and Anya Epler, and AJ from the Forbidden Panel podcast. Look at that.
Awesome.
That's it. Thank you, patrons. We dig it. Thank you so much for joining. Anybody else who wants to throw in there so we can get the fellas back, we'd appreciate it too.
Yes. Link is in the description below. So yeah, a $1 here, a $1 there. We can get a full squad back, but
here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck. Just drop them in.
I'm glad you said buck.
I thought 3 times to switch it. I was like, do I do it? I do it. It's not worth the one I get per show. I'll save it.
Right. And joining us in the pit, of course, we have Bootleg Joe's there with us, Douglas Tupper, Gavin Connor, Cliff is with us, Mando Mike, Brandon is in there. We've got Santo 1414. Let's see. Douglas Tupper, if I said that already. So I'm still some other people lurking in there. So join us in there. So before we get started,
it's cold.
It is freezing, man. It's a good time to be indoors listening to a podcast right now. So before we get started, hit that like, hit that subscribe button and that bell notification if you have not, please. And we appreciate it. We're trying to get build our community, which we have. We got a lot of new subs in this last week or two, and we want to keep the momentum going. So share, like, subscribe, all that great stuff. We appreciate it. So with that, all the house cleanings, out of the way. So let's get into some Star Wars talk. There's not much fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's not a lot. Okay, it's a very low point. We just got off of a show, and there's always in between stuff. So I kind of appreciate a little. It's twofold, right? It's almost catch-22. I kind of appreciate the let's take a step back and let's digest what we just got, right? With the Book of Fett, and we always do that. Yeah. So, but there's also keep the momentum. Let's get another show. Because again, after book, I was so into let's go into the Kenobi, man. Let's go. I kind of want to talk about something, and I've been scouring the internets, right, of rumors and stuff like, because I sometimes a good deep dive into rumors is cool, even though it might become true. I always check my sources. I don't go with the BS stuff, about like the real life stuff, of who's getting fired, who's taking over.
Don't care.
That's not Star Wars, right? So, one thing that I found completely interesting, and it wasn't. I'm trying to put two and two together. Someone mentioned about Luke Skywalker being in Kenobi, right, as a young Luke, and having more of a role
Kenobi,
than more of a role than we think, like a very, very important role. And so I started sitting there. What if we started getting a side by side in the episode as we go on, whatever, a side by side on what Luke is up to and what Leia is up to, and their upbringings, on how they're being brought into the world, right? Leia's obviously in the growing up royalty, rich, and in the political world, and Luke is in the swap meet mode, right? Maybe asking for toys and he can't get them, and pre-ordering and he can't. But Leia's got all the pre-orders she wants, and I hope we get some sort of comparison side by side in this show. And at first I'm sitting there going, no, it's a Kenobi show, it's going to be this and that, and I'm like, well, why not, right? Like why not? Because what the Book of Fett did with us and what Mando's doing, why not get a more of a deep dive into the youth of the twins?
You have to, because the whole point of Kenobi be doing what he's doing is to protect the twins, right?
Yeah.
To protect Luke specifically, but really the twins are important, right? And Yoda sensed it was Leia for a long time, we know, and Ben was watching after Luke, but you have to go into their upbringing, maybe not deep into their upbringing, but we're going to get story about them and see how different their lives are right now.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not so much, I don't think it's going to be her being rich. It's not going to be about her being rich. It's going to be about her being in the middle of this political crap. Right.
Yeah.
With her family. And I mean, do you want me to say the rumor I heard?
Yeah, please. It's a rumor, right?
The rumor, if anybody was want to hear rumors, you can close your ears for 3 seconds, right? Earmuffs. That starts out, the reason he gets started in this whole adventure at all is because she gets taken. She's abducted, and he has to come out to go save Leia.
Oh, really?
And that's what gets him started. Yeah.
Dang.
So I would think you're going to see her life starting out young like that, in that kind of world where she's going to get kidnapped or abducted or whatever. Yeah. And Luke's just sitting here bitching about power converters and
Yeah. Well, doesn't that put things in perspective on the show itself, and a totally 180 of what we were thinking the show was going to be? And if they really concentrate on Obi-Wan's presence on Tatooine overseeing Luke, and then we get the Leia things in the inner, that kind of stuff, that was like, when I started reading into the rumor a little bit and we're talking, that's like the furthest thing from my mind from a Kenobi series, even though it should be, right? Because I'm thinking, like we talked about, like, him and Anakin and the mind games and meeting up, and the Inquisitors are going to be a big thing. So
there you go. Highlight Mando Mike's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mando Mike.
She's well protected. Yes, she is, Mike. But these are Inquisitors we're talking about, right? Yeah. And if Vader's trying to draw out Kenobi, and he just and he doesn't know that Leia is his, obviously, right? But he knows Bail Organa is close to Kenobi. If he goes after Organa's child, that could bring Kenobi out of hiding.
Not only that, who's the first person she calls out to when she's in trouble in The New Hope? Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Well, that's because
obviously, So obviously there's a history there with her and Ben Kenobi, because she calls out to him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. And you know what? Joey, that was sorry. I'm a little. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I dig it, because that explains even more so why she would name her kid Ben.
Yes.
Right. So we're changing canon a little bit. We're changing what we know, because there has never been any indication that Leia has ever set eyes on, besides the fleeting second in A New Hope, of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Right. So.
I, for one,
that's cool, Joey. I love it.
Yeah, I for one would really like to get into the compare and contrast, I guess, to Luke and Leia, and how they were up, brought up and stuff like that. And perfect series to do it. And I think you could do it in 6 episodes. Start to.
You could get the whole Luke and Leia jive down in the first 2 or 3, to be honest. Yeah. And then you jump into the other rumor is Vader shows up in 3.
Right.
So they're and you start rocking and rolling for a couple episodes, because it's only 6 episodes.
Right. I hope they're an hour and a half, but they'll be 20
Yeah.
minutes, 30 minutes.
You can do a lot. You can do a lot in that time now. I'm
Sure you can.
convinced they can knock it out. Boba Fett could have done a lot different, and they did a lot, but
Yeah.
they could have done a lot more in that 8 episodes, right? They could, and really they only had 6 of Boba Fett. So
Yeah.
the same kind of thing of condensed, as long as they have the story flow and they have one main objective that we know from the get-go. Here's the objective, what we're doing, and they follow through. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah, like Mando Mike's bringing up, that she says, she's pretty gung ho, so I can see her wanting to get caught up in her own adventure.
Right. She's going to be like Omega and sit the hell in the ship,
right.
And they don't. And that's a Star Wars thing, right? You got a kid that doesn't listen, or you have to take care of, and it's all about kids in Star Wars and taking care of kids and doing that kind of stuff. And the kids never listen. So
yeah,
there you go.
Cliff is mentioning and backing up that claim too is about he had Bail Organa saying like I think he's like it said if Obi-Wan hasn't met Leia in that way, right, to go rescue or whatever, I'm sure Bail is teaching if you ever get in trouble, go search out the Jedi friend of ours and all that stuff. So dude, I just was seeing that and I'm like, oh, this is so cool because they absolutely can pull it off. This is new content, new canon that we would get in between this 18-year time frame between the twins and all that. And then it gets again, it put just like Rogue One did the New Hope. Well, Kenobi to New Hope is going to really open it up on when we first see Leia and why she's in this position. Of course, and
we've never
Luke
dealt with 10-year-old Luke and Leia, and that's cool. That's uncharted. I mean, not that we dealt much with Obi-Wan or Vader in this time frame either.
Yeah,
but seeing the kids, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
His whole purpose of him is to protect the twins. So why wouldn't this series be just about that from beginning to end? Just just showing him how he interacts with Luke. The way he interacts with Luke, it might not be like saving him from anything like that. It could be just him watching him and like accidentally bumping into him.
Right.
Telling him about here and there about his dad. Leia on the other side, he's like you said, he could be saving her from something. So I could totally see that.
Yeah.
It's going to be flashback heavy too, we know, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to have a trigger like the Bacta tank? Like anytime somebody looks at these kids, like that, they did like when Obi-Wan first sees Luke right here, he looks at him and thinks back to Anakin, or Leia does something and it triggers him right back to Anakin.
They're really gonna,
he sees Vader and he flashes back to him, Anakin and Ahsoka. Is that kind of, and Rex? We're gonna see this kind of stuff happen. We have to. You're in a Kenobi series with flashbacks. If you don't see Ahsoka and Rex and Cody, it's a huge miss. And I will.
So now in the Star Wars universe, every time you see a Bacta tank, automatically there's gonna be a flashback.
Has to. They're all going to have a trigger, right? There's going to be something for Grogu. Now that Grogu got woken up by Luke, whether he touches a lightsaber, he's going to keep going into flashbacks of memories. They're going to go into this flashback heavy mode in this Disney Plus thing, I think.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I'm totally down with that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Here's just 2 stories in one, and that's neat.
Yeah. And speaking of Cliff again, do you think Kenobi does a future forward to the end around the New Hope as well, or does it keep the kids young and still leave the room for a time to gap fill other stories later on? I think that it opens up that we talked about this last week about the Kazian series doing a flash forward to stuff that we know that relates to what he's doing in the show. Same thing with Kenobi, where it obviously could take advantage of that. You know what I mean? It could really go jump places and be like, Vader's meditating back on Empire Strikes Back level kind of stuff of why, or maybe upon killing Obi-Wan or, on the Death Star, right? When they escape, meditating on that. Why did he disappear? Why did he give himself up? Why did, that's kind of struggle, but it is definitely a flash forward. So like I'm
down with it, but
yeah.
I think it'd be more implied than seen. I think they'll say things that relate to stuff we see later. They'll be like, oh, that's why that's going to happen. Oh, that's why that happens in the sequels. That's why that happens in Empire. Perfect. I think that's the kind of stuff we'll see more so than physically acting it out on that. I think. But who knows? They can go crazy. Here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm telling you, we talk about it. I've learned my lesson. I'm not expecting anything, even though I'll be mad if there aren't like 10 different things that I expect in this or shouldn't expect. But still, I've learned my lesson. Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Curve our expectations. Like I said, like Mando Mike is saying, if we know if Ben is just kind of watches from afar, or are we going to see young Owen Beru visit from time? Yeah, well, Beru and Owen
and Beru don't like him. They're in it. They don't like
they
him.
are
So
100% in it. So
yeah, I think it'll be the point. I think they'll go back to the last book of the old Legends that was right before the transition to canon. That Kenobi book right there, and it discusses how young, about 10-year-old Luke was out there, and there were raiders, not Tuskens, just random raiders out there going after the homestead, and Obi-Wan was out there fighting them, and as he was fighting these people, Luke got over there and grabbed one of their legs, fighting with him.
Right. And
Owen came out there and flipped out, and he's like, after it was all done, he's like, "You need to stay away from here. He'll follow you, blah blah blah," like Anakin type of thing. You know?
Yeah.
Get away. You don't need to be around Luke
Our
anymore.
job is
I hope we see that.
It's almost set up perfect that way.
Yeah, I want to see a fallout. You stay the hell away from this kid.
I want to see that. That's huge.
Over my dead body. Over my burning corpse will you take this kid? And then, that's why that happens in episode 4.
Yeah, right.
Just like I'm talking flash forward.
Yeah.
Even Amber's giving Owen that look, just when he mentioned Obi-Wan's name, she's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like looking at him like, what the hell?
Yeah, right.
Hell. Yeah.
And then Cliff's comment says, "Do we know if it's Kenobi pre-Maul, dual, or post?"
Pre.
Yeah,
the last one. Pre.
Yeah, and we always hope that the series ends on that duel. You know, if it.
I want to leave it at Rebels perfect because Rebels is perfect.
Well, our theories have changed, right? Like big time, because when Kenobi was announced, we were in the mode of Crimson Dawn, Darth Maul, Kenobi on Tatooine, Maul still trying to find Kenobi and all that stuff. And then things have changed because, of course, we get a little bit rumors here or news here or actors being pronounced, like Amperu and Obi-Wan.
I think those rumors we were thinking before it was announced as a series. That's back when it was a movie, when there was a Kenobi movie in the works.
Yeah.
And then when it went to a series, because when it went to a series, they immediately announced Hayden was coming back too. Yeah. And so we knew it was going to be Vader-esque, but I don't. Everybody wants Maul, and I don't think Maul, because the way Rebels was set up was he didn't know Kenobi was. Well, I guess it's the same thing as Vader, right? You didn't know he was alive, so
yeah. It's almost like there's too much story to be told.
Yeah, I leave it out. If it's gonna be Vader, him and the twins, man, is so much story in 6 episodes. I think Maul interrupting.
Yeah, because you got the Inquisitors, you've got the
and the Inquisitors.
I'm telling you, dude, like 6 episodes just doesn't make sense, but they got a plan and we have to stick to it. I mean,
6 episodes at 45 minutes, is what's that over? It's over 4 hours, right?
Yeah. So we're getting like 2 full-length movies here, broken
almost
down.
4 hours. So it's 3 hours and 45 minutes, right? So that's plenty. Yeah, it's 2 solid movies. If you can't do a Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Vader story in 2 movies, we're failing. If you can't do it in 1 movie, we're failing. But
no, you're right. Yeah. I expect about 40-50 minute episodes anyway. So
you're gonna.
Yeah. John Williams is doing the sound. Is doing the music. Come on, guys! Like
at least just the theme. Just the theme.
Just the theme. But he's the master at Luke and Leia and Obi and all themes, like actual themes, right? So I always have this in my head when John Williams is involved. That means we're going to get very nostalgia, very key characters in it, and that's why I brought up this rumor of Luke and Leia, or not. It's an old rumor, but enhancing it because of like John Williams, Luke. It's all fitting. It's all starting to like connect a little bit, So, trying to overhype it again. Yes, I am. I'm in. Whatever.
Oh, dude, I'm hyped because I do. There are very okay. There are things you think you wouldn't have seen it, right? Qui-Gon Force Ghost. Do you expect to see Qui-Gon?
Yes.
If you don't see Qui-Gon, will you be disappointed?
Yes, because it's a loss. It's a missed opportunity. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no scenario where somebody can tell me we're going to do this series and Obi-Wan's going to do all these things and not have the influence of Qui-Gon in his ear. A ghost, a voice, a figure, something. It has to be influential. Because Yoda sent him to Tatooine to also meditate on Qui-Gon's teachings. So it's there. There's an important time frame that episode 3 set up for us. It has to be revisited at some point. And this is like, again, perfect opportunity. Don't do it in a book. Don't do it in a fleeting mention on like, certain point of view stuff where no one really deep dives that. Let's get it in there because that'll come full circle. And the prequels will just, really click in people's minds. It'll make Qui-Gon so much more important.
Especially when you tease us by having Qui-Gon's voice in in the Rise of Skywalker.
That's what I'm saying. Come full circle with this, man. Like, yes, Chris, I will be extremely disappointed. Because in my mind, there's no scenario that it shouldn't work, right?
No, I agree. I just want to make sure we're all. That's probably the biggest thing I think that would drive me nuts is if they don't take advantage. Because Liam Neeson said he'd be in it. Go back to Star Wars and revisit it. So if he's already said that, and that was years ago, then why the hell not bring him in?
Dude,
well, how many times have we started a campfire with all of our theories and said,
of course, every week,
and just for Disney to go,
and this is one of those, again, I think we do it every time where we find something in everything that's coming up that needs to happen. A lot of times it does happen. Lately, we've been better at it, but I mean, Qui-Gon is just such a slam dunk. How about flashbacks to Clone Wars in their armor? Do you expect that?
Yes.
Okay. If it doesn't happen, are you pissed?
I don't know, because there's two. Okay, so my thought is this: Hayden Christensen being involved in this thing. There's two ways. Actually, there's three ways you can go. You can go Clone Wars, you can go Vader, or you can go Clone Wars and Vader. Right? That's the all of it. So he's in it. We know he's gonna be. I don't know that we're not told if he's donning the suit. We just know that Hayden Christensen is gonna be in it as Anakin. No, I don't think as Vader yet. I don't know.
It's
as
been
Vader.
Both. Yes.
Well, then there you go. Yes, because again, I think there's so much. Remember, I was telling you guys, like I kind of want a somber, dire series in this. You're going to have some levity, you're going to have some comedy. Boba Fett gave us a lot of that.
More than sarcastic comedy, like Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's more sarcastic. Like I want to see Clone Wars Obi-Wan. He's
because we get that. Yeah, because that's where Clone War Obi-Wan shines and that kind of stuff. When we get to the desert that we get into after the dark times, I think he's got to do this personality change, this characteristic change of like, I'm too old for this. I can't be running off of this. I need Luke. I need to train. I'm gonna look after him. All that stuff. Like, and it's gonna enhance his dialogue in A New Hope a lot, I think. So, there's a couple things I'm looking for in myself. Again, it's the interactions of Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and meditating on his mistakes. Why Anakin turned? Why didn't we see this? What can we do to prevent it? How do I train? I mean, there's a lot of there's so much stuff going on. It's like,
it just kind of hit me this is that kind of thing where when they're meditating together, we can see like the force time, like Kylo and Rey.
Yeah.
Who else would be closer than Obi-Wan and Anakin?
Yeah.
To have some kind of force connection, maybe not like the same way where you're in the room, but having that connection, it's linking in, and you're kind of not a shared memory, but maybe a shared memory. Maybe the force brings them together, and they're flashing back together. He's in his meditation chamber, and he's in Tatooine, and they're having the same exact vision.
And this is where
of Ahsoka and them.
Yeah, this is where I think, like I said, I don't think they're physically going to be on story-wise meeting physically. I think it's going to be that they're going to be talking to each other through the force. They're going to be like, flashing back, and they're going to have this, thing like Vader's like, I'm going to finish what I started. You left me for dead, blah, blah, blah. And Obi-Wan's going to be like, how could you turn on us? How can you destroy? Look at the position we're in. And that's where, like I said, I know it's teased as another conflict. Like, I want to, because Ewan McGregor says I get another crack at Anakin, but we don't know in what context,
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's a mind game this time around. You know what I mean? A lot of people want another duel, which I'll take. I'll take another duel, because as long as they, it's gonna end in a draw. I mean, it's not gonna be.
Yeah, nobody's dying. We know that for sure. I think the mental game and the sensing, because then if you do it mentally like that and never see each other, then on the Death Star again, that's a presence I've not felt since. Everything really links to that kind of stuff, and I dig that. Now that's now what I want. And now if that doesn't happen, now I'm pissed. See, and there go my expectations. We can't do this shit anymore. I had to stop podcasting.
I can see that happening too while Anakin's in the back of the tank healing.
Yeah,
he's connecting with Obi-Wan right there.
If they pull the back to tank piece, though, I might be mad there too. But it's a little different than Boba's, but still. If that's the thing, then we got to go into Empire Strikes Back. I need to know what Luke's meditating on.
I kissed my sister. Oh, that didn't come yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna kiss my sister.
Kiss my sister.
Oh man, that's gross. You guys.
Oh yeah, what is Luke meditating on?
Hit Douglas Tupper there, Kenobi and Yoda. So here's the thing here. We're going to link to the sequels here. The Force projection that Luke did, right? He's already done it in Rebels. Or was it Rebels? Yeah, he Force projected to talk to Ezra. He was there in front of Ezra.
Yes.
So there's no reason that Obi-Wan can't chill and talk to Yoda and Qui-Gon at the same time. And there's no reason at this point he couldn't stop. I don't think he'll stop by Dagobah, but that'd be kind of neat too.
Do you think they show him Yoda training him how to commune with Qui-Gon?
That's what we're kind of a little bit in there.
Yeah.
He would have done that before the 10 years. He would have done that, maybe a flashback to it. That might maybe the early days of him and Qui-Gon. But hey, if he somehow has Luke and goes to Dagobah, he can't take Luke off Tatooine. Luke's never been.
He's already with Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
Nah, I won't go that way. I'm trying to make sense
because
of the
it's
whole
familiar. Something familiar about this.
And since they blew it in episode 3, I couldn't.
Well, could it be in Luke having visions, dreaming, like something like familiar? Because I've been.
Or he walks by Kenobi's hut when he's talking to Yoda.
Oh yeah,
and like he hears or senses Yoda, and then because Yoda's right behind him, that's the part he's sensing.
Yeah,
Luke's strong in the Force, so he sensed Yoda before, and now he's sensing Yoda behind him. That's the familiar part.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
Dude, there's like I said, so
many things.
I've never thought about this 18-year gap in a long time. You know what I mean? It's always been like, in between Empire and Return and all these things in this, and I'm thinking like, Luke was just going to high school.
Luke's not. Yeah, we're not dealing with anything until Luke exists, and now it's like, oh wait.
I know there's so much stuff. There is so much content to be released. Like I never thought, like, I was like, I don't want to see Luke and Leia going to high school in The Promise. You know what I mean? Like, what is this? But there's so much there. And
don't say that out loud, man. They listen, dude. They're gonna have some kind of teen episodes on Disney Plus now.
Oh my god,
Tatooine High.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to get through all the comments, guys. Keep it up. I'm seeing them, and but we're into this Kenobi thing deep now. So
no, I see Mando right there. Yeah, he didn't know Dagobah or Luke, but he's 10 years old right now. There could be something wrong with him, or he could be walking by at 10 years old, dude. I don't remember much about being 10.
But what if he's
an
having
alien
visions
voice
of the place?
or
like,
he could be having visions,
because Anakin had visions, but he had premonitions. But what if Luke was like, look, I've always like something I've known about this place. That so when he gets there, it's like, I don't know, something like maybe Yoda's trying to communicate.
In order to get me around this place, I think he's not meaning place. I think he's meaning Yoda. Now I think I talked myself into it.
Oh, okay.
I think he sensed him at Obi-Wan's piece, or sensed him. Not
that would be great.
He somehow has felt Yoda's presence, or Yoda's watched over him, near him, and Luke's like watch. We see Luke sleeping, and there's Obi-Wan looking over him, or Yoda looking over him.
Yeah,
right, as a Force ghost, like a projection or whatever, and Luke kind of wakes up and senses him, and that's the familiar part. I need something to connect that because I'm pissed about it still.
I always think like there's got to be some sense of real danger in this, like Obi-Wan's gonna have to, like with the Inquisitors, obviously, that where they're almost gonna get Luke, or no, they're after Obi-Wan at this point.
Dude, he had to have had some kind of premonition or dream about being at Dagobah, because he was sitting there saying like,
something always familiar about this place.
Something's real familiar about this.
That's been my pet peeve with episode 3 since episode 3 came out, is when Yoda landed on Dagobah in his little pod.
Yeah.
That they didn't just drop him off. Luke should have, or Obi-Wan should have taken him there, dropped him off, and had Luke with him in tow. And then went to Tatooine.
Cliff says Yoda was present at his birth, and who knows what they remember when they're born, and he could have remembered the presence of
Leia remembered her mom.
Yeah, that's right. Vividly.
She's very sad.
Very sad. She was.
Brandon says his theory is there will be a lot of flashbacks of more Obi-Wan and Anakin's time together. Yes, I'm thinking.
You know what? Do you think it'll be heavier flashbacks than it will be in time?
Man, obviously we're gonna have that dual time frame again, right? Doing this thing. I think so. I think in order for it to really resonate and bring in, remember I was telling you the absence of Anakin hurts Star Wars. To me it does, because I in my head I'm still on that Anakin kick. He is Star Wars. And this would make perfect sense for it to really delve into those time things where we did. Clone Wars was always funny for me, always, because yes, we got Anakin dark at times, but we really never really saw Obi-Wan recognizing it. He always kind of like, let's just do what I say, whatever. Do as I say, whatever. Even into Revenge of the Sith, it's yours, right? No punishment. I know things were going off already, but there was really no marination with it. And this is the time for Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon even too, and Yoda to be meditating on how the hell did we get here? we let this happen because we didn't see the signs. How do we stop Luke from doing this in the future, since he is his offspring? And that Palpatine's still alive. I mean, this is all like swirling, right? It's got to be like it's so cool to think about.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I'm scared, because like once we get it, it's set in stone. Then
and you know what? And that's what sucks too, because prior to Boba Fett, and again, my thoughts on Boba Fett have changed a bit, but not my overall peeve with it, right?
Sure.
But after that, I got really worried. I got worried about this. I got really worried about Ahsoka and Thrawn. I really don't want them. I didn't have worry before Boba Fett.
Yeah, because Boba Fett's role in the universe doesn't impact it like Luke and Obi-Wan.
Exactly. But we also don't know where it's going.
Yeah, because that's why I went into that show like, hey, it is what it. Honestly, I did. I see it. I said it here. Yeah. It is what it is. I'm excited. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy, because his story doesn't really. I mean, it's not.
Well, it might now.
Yeah. Well, it might mean more in the state of the universe,
but his story. Wait, hold on. The Fett's story affects everything.
Yeah, you're right. No, Fett, not okay. Everything. Fett's lineage, yes, but not Fett himself.
The Fett family. His blood did. I mean, the Fett family is the most important freaking family besides Skywalker.
You're right. You're 100% right. But like Boba Fett himself, at this time from after Return and him dying, so it's not. It didn't make me as nervous as Kenobi does. It doesn't make me nervous.
I wasn't nervous for Boba Fett. I was excited.
Yeah, exactly.
I was pumped, man. All killer, no thriller or filler. I was ready.
Yeah.
So after a couple episodes, I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen in Kenobi? And somehow I'm not worried about Andor. You know why? Because I have zero expectations on it. Because I don't have to. Because he's Cassian Andor. Not that I hate Cassian Andor. I don't have theories on him. It's like you give me everything you got right now, because there's not much that I have to play off of, right?
Yeah,
whereas Luke, Obi-Wan. Yeah, all these other guys, we have history for 44 years. We're trying to deal with some of it. But I'm not worried about him.
I'm thinking it's gonna I think it's gonna have a bigger impact than we think. And
I think Andor's gonna be the coolest one of all of them.
Yeah, I do too.
And that's what tripped me out, right? Yeah. And because I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. You can go Underworld and Empire, a lot of good stuff.
Tons of stuff.
If I started writing that in my head right now, we'd piss ourselves off too.
Yeah,
because that's where I would expect to see Cad Bane again. I would expect to see him in there and some other slew of bounty hunters in this Andor series. I would expect to see Thrawn and Tarkin in there. I expect Tarkin in this one too, by the way. I fully expect him and Vader talking. Yeah. For no reason. Zero reason.
Yeah. Well, we did get those concept arts of Imperial strongholds, or and stuff like that. So we're definitely getting Imperial troopers and their position in the world.
And that's why I actually still think Thrawn should show up to Hero Andor to introduce him for.
Why not? Oh my goodness.
There's zero reason again, because you need to introduce him for later again, show him physically where he's at. And next time you see him, he'll be bigger, older, and more decked out. And he won't be a Grand Admiral when we see him. He'll be.
It should be a first time view of the Empire in its actual heyday, like in a city. Like we've seen it out in the galaxy and stuff like that, but we never actually seen it like in a city, like in Tatooine, like where it's full on.
Well, just Solo, right? Solo, height, you saw the press,
but the height of the Empire, in a setting like this,
like we talked about the oppression of the Empire going to planets and just and like I said, Solo hinted on it, right? You got on Corellia about the propaganda and the troopers just pulling people out of we saw a little bit in Andor too, and that's what oh my goodness, that's what's perfect.
Hey, now so I'm jumping all over the place.
No,
Flashbacks on we talked about the Clone War flashbacks with Anakin and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. We cool if it's Ashley Eckstein? Yeah, then it's younger Ahsoka works, right?
Yes,
orange is orange. Just
correct.
Doesn't matter. I think having her do it, because I wouldn't want to put Dawson in there. She's way too tall at this point, right? And I think Ashley Eckstein is the perfect size to jump in and be young Ahsoka.
Well, it's we have to go by Clone Wars season 7 Ahsoka, right? And just kind of age her a little bit more off of that.
No, you don't. You go before season 7. Why would it have to be season 7?
Because
only if we do Order 66.
Well,
it's a flashback, bro. This could be in the middle. This could be,
I thought you meant like during
this is him and Anakin flashback. Clone Wars.
Dude.
Yes. Eckstein for sure. If it's further along, you kind of have to go with Rosario Dawson.
Snips version.
Yeah, but if we can go flashing back to right after Attack of the Clones, they meet her, that kind of thing, and we're in a maybe not midriff, but right after the midriff, that
Right.
outfit.
Right.
Go
Right,
go that.
Yeah, exactly. The rebellious Ahsoka.
Yeah. Get right through that.
Yeah, dude, I'm cool with it. Honestly,
Yeah.
Let's do it. We'll definitely recognize the voice, and it'll come right back. You know,
it would be so much better if they do that. So that was another thing that I hope if they do. I hope that's who's doing it.
Yeah. Mando Mike is asking, Thrawn would be a Moff at that point? No, right?
No, I think he's not even an admiral. Not even. Oh, he was never a Moff. Moff's non-military, so it's like a governor title, isn't it?
Political?
It's a appointed. Well, no, it's military, but it's not on a ship. I don't know how to explain it, right?
Yeah.
How do you explain? They're over the territories.
Probably like probably like
Yeah.
you have your Secretary of Defense, like
Right.
Not they're military, but they're more governmental. Like
I think I was going more governor than grandmom. I was screwed up in my thinking right there. But I don't. He was never a Moff. He's probably. I don't know. He went up pretty quick in those years. It was. I had to check it real fast. I had this theory going with him being in Kenobi for a while, and he joined the Empire shortly after Order 66. So the Thrawn books start really short after. This is 10 years into his time. He became Grand Admiral right before Rebels.
Yeah, see, that's what I was trying to explain. Cliff was saying it was a governor / Grand Moff.
Yeah,
correct.
The governor's the non-military title. The Grand Moff is title, but it's still honorary. Right. It's honorary by the Emperor himself. Only one Grand Moff, if I recall. I think Tarkin's the only Grand Moff.
Yeah, exactly. Right there, Leia did address him as Governor Tarkin, not by military title. Yeah, exactly, Governor Tarkin.
He's governor over the Outer Rim because that's where the Death Star was being built.
Correct.
So he was governor out there in charge of that, so he could oversee the Death Star.
Yeah,
he had to pull a file out right there. You ever get that where you're like, what's going on with Tarkin right here?
Exactly. All right, switching gears a little bit because this could come back full circle too. But I was watching Rogue One again. Yeah, I love it. I go to, and I made a point to really pay attention to when Jen Erso is reading off the projects, because she mentions War Mantle, Stardust, right? But the one before War Mantle, we all know what War Mantle is, right? The changing clones to the enlisted.
Yeah, getting rid of the clones, which is really cool that we know.
The one before was called. She said Mark Omega. Said Mark Omega really? War Mantle. Yeah, and that was like I paused it. I went Mark Omega. I'm like, well, we all know as far as like what we relate to as Omega, and we always speculate where is Omega and all this and her role and all this stuff. Is Mark meaning like she's a Mark, the Mark, or like something where she was someone?
You mean like Iron Man outfits and they're Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark? No, I'm serious because you have Mark Alpha is Boba Fett, Mark Omega is Omega,
and that made me really, really kind of like sit there and think about as I'm doing other things. This is what we do, right? I'm thinking, okay, Omega's more importance in this whole thing with Bad Batch going into, like I said, Mount Tannis, all these things with the Empire, cloning facilities and stuff. Maybe she is Force sensitive, maybe by mistake or might be design, and Mark Omega could be her project. It could have been because it doesn't have to be in the current times of Rogue One. This is all of the archives.
Oh, it could have been old. Yeah,
stolen. It could see her being a story in Andor.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it could really go back. Like Omega could be really, really important moving forward. And then I started thinking like, well, shit, Bad Batch is going to be like insane if this happens. If her importance goes into more of the Emperor's, trying to come back or his contingency plan because he's alive. His contingency plan, and she was part of this whole thing. She was created for that purpose.
Because there's a point in there when they said, who was it? I just rewatched Bad Batch last week. It was they said, why did they make her? Because they don't. Oh, it was when they went to the clone that deserted in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Right. He said, why did they make her? The Kaminoans don't make clones for the guy that's by himself. He was Twi'lek wife. He has kids. They were. I
forgot his name already.
Yeah, me too. And Rex had just visited him the day before. But anyway, he has said the Kaminoans don't clone without a reason.
Right.
What's her reason? And never answered it throughout the show. What the actual again, like Boba Fett being a gang lord, or crime lord, I don't know the reason. But we're gonna find out, I think, and then we're gonna find out Omega, what the reason is they made her. And to your point, I was thinking maybe this is where they were starting to experiment on stuff and making her Force sensitive. And it's quite possible because she gets the hang of stuff pretty quick and is OP the hell, right? For her.
That and do you think that Sypha Dyas will be in Andor? Do you think, because Andor has been in this fight since he was 6 years old? What makes where does that put? Where does that put Andor's age, and where does the fight? And it's got to be in Clone Wars,
right?
You would
think,
think, right?
It wouldn't be pre-Clone Wars. Why would he be fighting?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, this is always again. This has my wheels turning, because if A New Hope to Clone Wars is 18 years, right? 19, so if Andor's been in an A or this fight or a fight,
he's 26.
Okay.
So go back. So
maybe that
he would have been 7. Close enough.
Okay, close enough.
Perfect. Right. 7,
so this would
have been right there. Order 66 is when he would have done it.
So the end of So okay. But really cool, like flashback into, like I said, with it just be so cool to for the Andor series, or even to bring in Omega, or even Bad Batch to bring in Omega and Sypha Dyas at this.
Those three can all very easily connect, really, like you're saying, and it's just like the beginning of Bad Batch when we saw Kanan.
Yeah,
it's very easy to have a quick scene like that to connect people just in passing.
Because Sypha Dyas could be like, I need a clone army, but also make me this, make me.
Sypha Dyas is way before, dude. Way before.
But if it's Palpatine's plan all along to do all these things, and he's the one.
But Omega got made so far after Boba.
Well, it could be. Here's the plan. Do it. Here's the orders. Do the army. This is that, and then as like Mark Omega could be the contingency plan for the cloner facility. For the cloners to do at a later time, or hey, next on the bill is this. Like it could be something where we might see her as a purpose to serve the Emperor's contingency plan. That throws it all out of. That throws it in a huge melting pot of Star Wars to me.
So if that's the case, you think the Empire has possession of her at that time?
At some point, maybe during Bad Batch, I bet.
Yes, exactly. Because now we're bad. Like it's the only reason to bring a Bad Batch to continue. I think without other shows, is to really get into the Emperor's contingency, his cloning facilities, his Snoke maybe, or as a like Joey says, like Snoke as a person. Emperor's using this guy, use me, I beg you. I don't know. It just, there's so much stuff that could possibly tie in.
Yeah.
I mean,
and now that I wasn't expecting Kenobi or Bad Batch to link into the other stuff. Well, Bad Batch I did after the last episode.
But when we start talking about the umbrella, right?
They can.
And this is how we start.
Affect, but they will.
Yeah.
Butterfly effect from each one. Each one has something that affects the other.
Yeah, and every series is overall. It all ties in and all matches. And I know Scott is not here, but I know he would say the world is too big for that to happen. But at the same time,
here we go.
Yeah,
not working. Not happening. Not happening.
He's all cool theory. Not happening. Yeah. Yes.
Not happening.
Yeah. So
love you, Scott.
This is the thing though. We go with these theories and Scott's right there to go.
Yeah.
Yes. Every time say pull out of my mouth, shoot down. All right.
Mando Mike is asking. I don't think she had a chip, but Omega's chip
she didn't
disabled.
Have one, right?
Yeah, in the Bad Batch, but taking an Emperor. Yeah, no. She never was chipped. Just like
she didn't have a chip. She was cocky about it too. When she talked about the inhibitor chip, Daryl, what about you? She's like, I don't have an inhibitor chip.
Right. Like Boba Fett's not. He was completely created separate. But yeah, so like that was it just kind of got me. I never really caught that, like Mark Omega. Mark, I don't know what is.
Well, why would we? We haven't really watched. Well, Mark, I think is the like a Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3.
Right.
I think that's what it is. It makes sense that way. But Omega is just taking the place of the number.
We had experimental clones, right? We had that old guy. We had the Bad Batch. We had
99. He was a defect more than an experiment.
Yeah, but it was
99. The clone 4 is.
Yeah,
the defects, those were all on purpose, right? And she's on purpose.
So Mark Omega is like Mark Omega, Mark 2 Omega, Mark 3 Omega, and they're all Inquisitors now. So
that'd be cool.
But I mean,
I like Adam's comment.
Adam Urban Spidey, welcome. By the way, his only reason I think Omega isn't part of the big story is because Tarkin doesn't seem too concerned with her. You think? Okay, well,
that's a pretty good point. That's a pretty good point.
But I just don't think Palpatine has told anybody. I don't think
that
was
my other thing. Do you think he's sharing that yet? Even with Tarkin, though, Tarkin at this point is number 2.
Yeah, but
no, he's not. No, he's not. 2 years. It's 10 years before.
Palpatine has his his those guys, he's in a purple, he's got his circle.
Yeah.
Maybe they're part of the Sith Eternal. I don't know. Maybe like this is a whole thing. I don't think. See, here's the thing. The Emperor has basically his Sith ruling, his Force, his dark side ruling the galaxy, and he's using the military might of Tarkin and stuff. That's why I believe like he just put. Yes, he has the overall commander-in-chief attitude, but also he lets Tarkin do whatever he wants. Because Tarkin blew up Alderaan, Tarkin blew up the Jeddah. This is all things, and Emperor just was doing. I think the Emperor was really concentrating on the bigger picture and just using Tarkin as a pawn. So I don't think he would tell him.
Yeah, because you think about just regular business, right? There's a lot of big picture stuff that nobody below, even the people right below, don't know about. It happens to me all the time. Right.
Yeah.
And you're just,
right, yeah.
And I'm like, I should know that. Well, you don't have to know this part. Well, I should have known that. Well, that's Tarkin right there. He's out in the galaxy doing stuff. The Emperor is not briefing him on everything, especially his plan in case he falls.
Yeah.
Right. He's probably, like you said, probably his what are those people called? But yeah, we'll go with the Sith Eternal people, right?
I'm assuming I forgot they were called
like high priest. His high priest.
Yeah. If anybody knows, it would be Tarkin. But that's a good point by Adam. I didn't even think about that, but I think I think I'm good with the Emperor keeping it close to the chest right now. 10 years before.
To me, I would leave Tarkin and the military in the dark because they have a role, and not to be distracted with that role. I would leave like this other things in the dark.
And I think he's just Admiral right now.
Hey, look who's joining us!
What's up?
Hey!
Scott, raise your hand, please, when you want to talk. Okay,
Scott.
Yes, Scott.
Hey. All right, so now I'm here. We're starting over. What's up?
But I think at this point he's Admiral Tarkin and Kenobi. 10 years in between. I think he's Admiral at most.
I think he was loading up his shotgun.
He's not number 2 yet. I don't. But now that gives a good question of who's the Grand Admiral now? Who are the big Moffs right now that he's dealing with? Will it be like Moff Gotti and all those guys? And will he be dealing with those guys before Tarkin comes up?
Yeah, Scott, I don't know how much
you think I've heard nothing. Why do you think Tarkin wouldn't be a Grand Moff?
At 10 years before, I don't think he's that high up yet.
In the time of Bad Batch.
I think in Bad Batch.
Okay.
Right after Order 66.
Yeah.
Is he just a Moff and not a Grand Moff yet? Is that?
I don't think 19 years.
Tarkin,
I think he's just. I think they call him Admiral Tarkin.
See, I feel like I'm getting caught up here.
Yeah, you are. You're definitely so.
Because we're right at the tail end of this part.
Yeah,
we're So what we were trying to figure out right there. Adam's question was we were talking about Omega and her being part of the bigger picture, Scott, and if she was part of the contingency plan, and why wouldn't Tarkin know? And we're just kind of working it out. And it's probably because Tarkin's only an admiral at this point and not a Grand Moff and number 2 in the Empire. Right? That's probably where I'm at. He took us off track for like 6 minutes there. Damn it!
Yeah.
I had to figure. I had to work it out in my head, or I wasn't going to be able to sleep.
Yeah, and it was all stemmed because I was watching Rogue One, and Jen Erso mentioned Mark Omega as one of the projects. Mark Omega,
right?
Operation Cinder.
Cliff,
stuff,
no.
And I just
just see Cliff's answer. No, I don't lose it. I'm still doing it. It's mine today.
Remember, we haven't said it once, so
not once. I've saved it.
What have we said?
You'll
show just
you'll just
I'm
wait.
taking it out.
Just go with it. Okay.
Just go with it.
Yeah, so the it was just kind of like caught my attention there. I was like, wait a second, that's the first time we've ever heard Omega, and it could be something just completely thrown away, but at the same time, if Filoni and the team are paying attention, of course they are.
Wait a minute. Wait. This motherfucker. Really? Really?
I don't think Omega is going to be huge in the big story going forward, only because I think we've made, to our point a little while ago, Fett's already pretty big. I don't know if we need another Fett disciple going out and
you're right,
wreaking havoc. I think she's good for the Bad Batch. I think she'll meet Boba.
You're right.
I think she'll meet Boba, and I think she'll die in Bad Batch 2. And I think it'll be cool.
Wow.
And I think it'll be meaningful to Boba, and somehow we'll get that in his story later. I think that'd be actually cool.
That would be cool if it came full circle around to that, because you're right. Like, all right, getting all the Fett twins now into the mix of the bigger picture. Wow. Right. Fett's no longer a secondary character.
And it's only Fett and Skywalker families at all that matter.
Yeah.
And it's too much. And
in the wide galaxy, that's it.
Yeah, we're already that close to it. We were talking about a little while ago. It's already this close. I mean, there's millions of Fetts.
Yeah, there is special effects.
They outnumber
Oh,
Skywalkers.
speaking of,
sure.
1,000,000 to 6, and yet the Skywalkers broke the whole damn thing. Who knows?
Celebration this year. The other rumor is that I've heard, and from several, and I read. I'll tell you where Reddit. Nothing like anybody, like just people talking, right?
That the Sarlacc's going to be there and be awesome.
Well, that is a major. It's not a rumor. That's happening. Confirmed. But another and Celebration, it just makes sense because that's why I'm bringing it up, because I've been reading a bunch of comments. Is that Celebration is going to drop a lot more than we know of shows and or movies. And speculation is also episodes 10, 11, 12.
Bring on the shows. I can do without 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, I think that to me kind of undermines everything else. You leave that we're done.
Maybe that's the purpose.
Yeah, maybe.
How are they going to bring back Palpatine again? I don't know.
Oh, we're getting Palpatine again, but just in Kenobi and Andor.
Yeah.
Well, we got Rey. I don't care what Rey calls herself. She's got Palpatine blood. So,
she ain't no Skywalker.
The reason behind it, again, I don't know if I agree or not, but maybe we could talk it out in the future and stuff like that. But again, like 10, 11, 12, making, the whole thing about extending what we've got in the sequels and extending it bigger than we got. And it's really going to it will absolutely downplay the sequels, because you're moving on. You're not going to have your legendary characters. Therefore, you can move on with characters you're not going to piss people off with. Mm-hmm. Or you will, but not in the nostalgic way. It could bring off a better story and just have 7, 8, 9 as just it's just this little snippet of Star Wars. Yes, they're episodic, but we've got the real picture in 10, 11, 12. That's the campfire talk. Yeah. Okay. The reasoning behind that. Now, do I think Disney has the guts to do that? I don't know. I don't know if they're scared of this, of doing more, or they're just saying Disney Plus is working. Let's just do what works at this point.
If they want us to vote, I'm down with Disney Plus all day. Yeah. Throw me a movie every once in a while, make up something cool to make it a big event. But I right now I'm cool with Disney Plus as long as they bring it.
Yeah, they've got all these movies and all these plans, and like Taika Waititi's series or movie that he's supposed to be directing. That's what I want more of. That's what I want to hear more of whenever it's Celebration. I don't want to hear 10, 11, 12.
Unless that's his
just the stuff you've already talked about. Let's get information on the stuff you've talked about.
Yeah, because there's a lot more. There's a lot more.
There's even right now Webb. What's his name? Mark Webb. From, the Spider-Man series. Just got rumored that he's got a Disney Plus series. And like, what's with all the other series we have going? We have all sorts of stuff. Although we don't know who's running Ahsoka. Filoni's running Ahsoka. Filoni is. Sorry, that was
right, but we don't.
It would have to. It would have to be, I think. Yeah,
but unless maybe he's not directing though. Maybe they give. No, he'd want to direct it. I don't think he'd give anybody Ahsoka for a minute. So
he'd write it.
Well, when did we get that slate? 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay, so now we're coming on to basically we're still in the. I feel we're still in the beginning of it, but I feel once we're rolling, we're going to be rolling. So it makes sense that Celebration this year. I know, and there was talk about they're going to do it, yearly. It could be this year that they're going to announce another slew of projects, right? That are going to take us into this other future,
So like they're basically giving us Hasbro pre-orders.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right? That's what it seems like. Yeah.
You'll get it in 2 years, maybe. And
it's no different than what Marvel's doing, right? So Marvel does the same thing where they announce,
but Marvel doesn't announce it, and then 2 years later, there's no hint whatsoever about it. You've seen a forward progression of Marvel through behind the scenes videos of Thor or photos of Thor, Doctor Strange. We've already got that in the bag. We've already seen trailers for Mobius or whatever the hell his name is. Spider-Man Far From Home or No Way Home has already hit, and those were all on that slate that were almost released at the same time.
Yeah, I think sometimes the eyes are bigger than their stomach at the point when Disney has Star Wars, and they give us that slew like then.
Now, if the issue is they can't get the story right and they're working them, fine, take your time. I don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
If that's the problem.
Well, we always said like Celebration always has some sort of big event happening, or whatnot, and I'm like, okay, Kenobi's going to be right. I mean, starting the day before. Again, they can get into Ahsoka and like big. It's weird to think about another slew of things announcements because we haven't even got 25% into the first slew of announcements, right?
Yeah. Rewatching The Mandalorian and going through season 2, as epic as season 2 is, you can tell that they sped through it. They did not take their time with it. There were a lot of issues with it. I mean, if you think about things like Gene's guy who was left in the shot, I mean, he's been fixed since, but there's a lot of continuity flubs and stuff like that in the show. Yeah. And if they're taking their time to, like Chris said, to get it right and to make it work, and no matter how epic Mandalorian was, it could have been just that little bit more had they paid attention.
You're 100% right, and I feel that should have been like, I felt Boba Fett was the same way. I felt at least the first half was a little rushed and not polished enough for a Star Wars product.
Mandalorian got a pass because there was a lot of lore. It was pretty fast paced. Like the episode with the Weathers directed. Right?
Oh yeah,
which I just finished watching last night.
God awful worst episode of the Mandalorian. Period. The worst acted episode of any of the shows. It's horrible.
But it has a lot so much.
And it had one of the most important scenes in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, it had the cloning facility. I'm like, hell. Yeah. That's a big deal, you know. And Dark Trooper, we're like, what the hell? But it's the worst episode of the bunch. I mean, like, horrible. The lines are horrendous.
Yeah. And I feel we can get past those things because of the prequels. You know, I mean, we've said it a million times. Because of the prequels, we can get past a lot of the cringy stuff on.
It takes a minute sometimes, but we'll get over it.
Like someone, my son was telling me about the swirly guy, and and Boba Fett, and I go, you know what? I didn't even notice that until people pointed out because I don't care. Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, that was stupid, but didn't like, oh my god, I'm gonna burn stuff, because we've seen a lot of cringy stuff on scene. Unfortunately, it's for our beloved Star Wars, but that, I guess that's par for the course at this point. It doesn't have to be, like, to your guys' point, like you were saying about take your time, do something good, make sure it's right, make sure the continuity's there, make sure there's nobody standing in the background when you do these shots, right? And I agree with that. I think just like we talked about last week with the toys, right? I think everything Star Wars should be epic. I don't want, here's this little thing here, and some people like it, some people don't. So, and I think everything that Disney touches Star Wars should be very, very thought out. It's all there. Guys, just listen to us. Listen to the pit. Listen to our show. It's there. Even if the direction you're going is completely opposite to what we just said, it's still a direction that actually makes sense, and it's fun, and it's a cool adventure, right?
Urban Spidey, the prequels have made me impervious to bad dialogue.
100%.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If you could survive that, you could survive Twirly Man in Boba Fett. Okay, you can survive the mod.
Hey, he was a smooth criminal.
Like I said, I didn't listen either. That didn't bug me. That episode was pretty rad. It was really. I mean, it was more the internet that got us on that piece, right? It just
sure.
Never. I'll let the rest go.
No, but I do agree though to take a step back. And we've said it on the show too. If we didn't get content for 2 years, but we got epic content in 2 years, I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah. I don't
pump the brakes.
Yeah, like, as I love what we're getting, but it's a fact that the same. Again, this is me, and I'm sure you guys share the same sentiment. If they sit there, go, you know what, that slate we gave you, half of it's cut. We're gonna revamp, and at Celebration, we're gonna do this whole new timeline. I'd be like, all right, cool. I don't trust you because you guys don't know what you're doing, but at the same time.
What I want, if they do redo a slate, I'm cool with it if they explain what they're doing. Yeah. Like, say, hey, and like there's this big old, like they do a bunch of shows, and then overarching, you see the Heir to the Empire logo go over it.
Wouldn't that be like
this is where we're going?
Yeah, I just like, it's one of those things. I hope they have that kind of vision. I really do.
Yeah,
I think they do, but I don't think they'll share it. I think like Hasbro itself, Disney likes to keep things too close to the vest. It's like Hasbro releasing figures, but the figures are coming, but they give them stupid code names. It's like, okay, we know we're getting.
Yeah, what the hell is that about?
We know we're getting Boba Fett from Book of Boba Fett. Why are you calling him, Talladega? Why?
Right.
Why? We know it's coming. You showed us the slate. Don't be coy. Just tell us. And the same thing but I think that's what Disney are going to end up doing. They're just going to pussyfoot around about it and not tell us everything. And
we're being patient. I think the fandom is patient, to a point. You get the blow ups on the internet and stuff like that. But at the same time, we love what the big picture could entail. Just like I said, when I brought up Omega, because I was watching Rogue One, and it's like, well, how does that tie in? It's like, because of that line. And I'm thinking, like, are they looking at that too? Did Filoni look at that too and be like, yeah, we're writing Omega in because of that line, and we created this whole thing that's going to tie in this stuff. Would you watch it as a whole? Everybody's excited, and it's all.
Scott, did you catch that? You weren't here for that part. What started the Omega talk? Did you catch that? What started it?
No.
He was just explaining Rogue One when they go through the plans and you hear about all the
War Mantle
and everything.
Stardust. Yeah.
The first one is Mark Omega.
Yeah.
So
Omega, War Mantle.
He's trying to figure out the marks. Would be like Iron Man suit, Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark, whatever.
Mark Omega would be,
There's Mark Alpha, which is Boba, Mark Omega, which is Omega.
Right. And I just thought that I was like, wait a second. I'm like, whoa, that would be cool if it was a direct tie-in to Bad Batch, because
they were cloning Omega again, so they wanted her for, and maybe she's the link to everything later.
Well, that I brought up Cypher Diaz, right, in the Kenobi, because it's all stemmed from Kenobi series. Like, could we see Cypher Diaz in Andor, doing the
flashback,
like the flashback of like, here's the army I want you to build, but here's this little thing that Palpatine or Duke or whoever wants me to do this right now. It's this little thing called Mark Omega project. Get to it when you can, Well,
and Heir of the Empire, that's how Sabaoth did stuff, right? He would tell, Thrawn did stuff around Sabaoth. He's all, you do this, but then on the side he was doing something else and wouldn't tell him about, that's how the Empire works. It's like, there's this big job, but on the side, just
like I don't think Palpatine tells everybody. He does things. He sends his agents, because overall it's about him. He probably doesn't care about anybody. It's just about his plan. So his contingency plan. He doesn't want to tell Grand Moff Tarkin or whoever is saying, when I die, this is what I want you to do, because he doesn't want to tell people if I die. He's like, no, I'm the end all be all. But
I shouldn't die because you all should protect me. Exactly.
Right. But around the corners of things, he's like putting things in place for all that stuff. Exegol, the Sith Eternal.
That's what it is. It's the Sith Eternal that does that stuff for him. Is planning.
Yeah, and I really want them to delve into Sith Eternal moving forward. Right.
Again, that was big miss. Big miss on Rise of Skywalker was not
a
deep
great creation.
That.
Like and that's one of the things that the sequels gave us. Like, oh my God, that's epic. That's awesome.
We're on a Sith planet in the unknown regions, and yet I'm underwhelmed. That shouldn't happen.
Right. Great concept, poorly executed and poorly brought to us. And but enough
in the lore
for us to really get into it.
Now we can learn about it. And
the Acolyte. I'm hoping the Acolyte. That's cool. What it's all about.
It could lead. Just because it's the time frame back here, it could be like jump to 100 years, and this is where we get.
But if all of these tie into the overall story that is what we're hoping is Heir to the Empire, then a secondary slate could fill in some of those other gaps. If they don't fill in some of the other gaps, like, where did the Sith Eternal come from and all that, just go far in the future or way back in the past.
Well, Grogu at 500 years old. That's
give us some distance.
That's what it's got to be.
Yeah.
Grogu leading things at 500, leading Mandalore as a Jedi, the Mandalore.
Oh my God.
Could you? Oh my God. we're getting his prequel right now. We don't realize it, that he's going to be the ultimate
Lord Grogu of Mandalore.
Lord,
why not, dude? I'm
Dark Lord Grogu for about 10 years till he came back. It's going to be awesome. I love it.
Somebody with Sith, or with not Sith, but maybe Sith. Somebody with Jedi powers, the Force abilities, but without the checks and balances of either the Jedi or the Sith. Just a free floating, gun blazing, lightsaber, dark saber wielding Grogu.
There has to be a specific change to no more of more of the same. It's got, and I've told this to Chris a long time ago when 7, 8, 9 were announced. We always talk, right? So I was like, what are they going to do? They're going to bring another bad guy. Yeah, they did. Brought back and they killed him. And this, and I was like, oh, it's more of the same. Cool. No, I'm talking like a whole new way of thinking how the Force works. A whole way new thinking how no more Jedi Sith. That was old, but you needed those to have this thing. There's a lot there.
Hey, can I help the chat? I'm going to help the chat out real fast. There's a talk about Qui-Gon going on, and if he can appear as a Force ghost. And in the certain point of view for A New Hope, he was a Force ghost to Obi-Wan on when they were burning the Jawas.
Yes.
Matter of fact, because Obi-Wan mentioned how, here I go with the word, Scott, corporeal, he was becoming at this point.
Right.
So just so you know, I hear the chat talking. That's
yeah.
He can be a ghost. Yes,
absolutely.
They just got to hire Liam Neeson.
Right. Now I know we're short on time, but I think next week I want to dive into what's been talked about a lot because the Mark Webb rumor is him because Mark Webb taking a Disney Plus series for Star Wars is the.
I don't know who Mark Webb is.
Spider-Man.
And he's done some other time travel.
Director.
Yeah, director. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, but he's also done something with time travel. So the World Between Worlds has come up big today.
I noticed that.
I think we'll save it for another day, but I just want to say no. If Disney you're listening, don't touch World Between Worlds ever again.
Just like keep Cad Bane dead and no World Between Worlds. Just leave it.
Those are our two rules right now. I just need you to listen, Disney.
Yeah.
No World Between Worlds. Keep Cad Bane dead. You can.
I hope Filoni's going like this. Ah, crap.
Yeah.
It was at one place in the galaxy that was, we saw it. That was, and it was destroyed.
Yeah. That's what I hope. Screw it. Let's do it now. Because what happens is you get this big old mess where nobody can understand where a timeline is, what really counts, and everybody, that's not real. That's not real. Legends is real. We can't handle two timelines right now. We definitely can't handle an infinite universe. We cannot. Yeah. So we need to smash that.
Sorry, Adam. It's John Watts, not Mark Webb. John Watts did Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was.
Watts. He's right. Watts. Yeah, Watts. Sorry, dude. He's right.
But yeah,
Webb. Yes.
Yeah, we cannot get into a situation where they can unwrite things willy-nilly, and just kind of like, we killed him, but we could just pull him out here, and because the whole thing was
fuel to the fire.
No, but maybe there's a reason why he hasn't delved into that, because maybe that's where he was going at the first place, and he was like, that's just way too much, and we can't do that, because it has to be. I think it should have been like an Emperor thing. He tapped into it, brought Ezra into it to do something, and it backfired, and that was it.
I hope, because leaving Ahsoka alive is one thing, right? Yeah. But I can't have different versions of Luke showing up in different times and doing different things.
Will you be okay with Luke?
No, I'm not going to do that.
I'm okay with Luke. One Luke.
Like
or Windu or whoever. It's just only one.
Cliff, that's exactly my point. He did it for Star Trek and it worked just fine. That's my point. It worked for Star Trek. It doesn't work. It doesn't belong in Star Wars.
Yeah, and it did work for Star Trek. I'll give it that, because I actually like that movie. And
no, it works in that world, right? But it's just too easy to undo things and again more of the same.
Yeah. No, nothing ever matters when you can time travel. Nothing.
Star Wars is a progressive movement story. It needs to be. And
even if they can come back to life through some Sith magic or cloning or whatever, that can be explained pretty easily without a time travel dimension.
Yeah, exactly, guys. So, oh my God, so
I hate it.
As long as they bring back humpback whales, it's all good.
That was. I know what the episode is. Part 4.
That was going on Twitter today too. I saw.
Was it?
That. Yeah, it really was. I don't understand.
All right, cool. Weird. Well, I think. Good talk today. Some deep line talk, some theory crafting, some getting into what else is being talked about out there. And I'm hoping that we get some more for next week to continue this talk. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Scott, for showing up.
That means we need to thank our patrons. Somebody must have put in money to get Scott's salary back on. So appreciate it. Well done.
I check cleared, right? All right. Check
cleared. I appreciate that. I'm sorry I missed the early part, but if you saw what my wife was wearing tonight, you would have joined. You would have avoided it too. So
you're done already. And you're done already. You waiting for round 2? All right then. All right. So Joey, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at bootlegjoe_760, and you can find me as Jedi Killer on TikTok.
Jedi Killer on TikTok. Scott, where you at?
I am at the Sarlacc Digest podcast on TikTok. You can also find me in the Sarlacc Digest Central on Facebook, and you can find me on Instagram as The Art of Scott Solo.
Bunch of underscores.
Hey, whenever you put a space, it automatically puts an underscore.
Shut the F up, really? I saved my F still, Cliff. It's coming. All right. Mooch, where you at?
I'm here every Wednesday. You can find me, and Cliff knows where you can find me every Tuesday and Thursdays, killing goblins, because that's what we do.
Nerds. There's always a line, dude. There's always this nerd line, and we're right here. And then you say, "Oh, I'm going to jump right over this nerd line and be the mega nerd." There
I'm
you
a
are.
perpetual line crosser. Perpetual line crosser.
You give me shit about liking Star Trek. I mean, come on.
Hey,
every time we're in a literal line, we'll start talking, and then everybody's grooving. And then Marco says something, we all just stare at him, and we're like, "Just go over there. You're just gone too damn far."
Yeah. Yes, Cliff. I called you out to being a nerd too.
Nerd.
Oh man, but yeah,
Jesus Moocher's his new name too. That's his
Jesus
Moocher. Jesus Moocher.
That's awesome. But yeah,
all right.
Here every Wednesday and Tashi Station Emporium. Get all your stands for your figures. But
damn straight. See, look, my Black Series don't fall down because I have Tashi Station Emporium.
Nice.
This right here is the end all be all of figure stands. The Tashi Station double peg figure stand.
Double pay. Can't go wrong.
It's a DP. Can't go wrong with a DP.
That's right.
All right. Now, everybody. So you can find me on the Starlight Digest on Twitter, on the Starlight Digest on Instagram, and I have been tweeting with the twats a lot lately, so I am getting up on there. So thank you again to our patrons. Thanks for getting Scott back on here with that extra $5 because that's his weekly stipend. And until then, we're not going to keep it nerdy. You're going to go fuck yourself.
Wow.
Also,
keep it nerdy, everybody.
What was the whoa? Was it the plan?